Hey up everyone, and I'm back with another video and a draw with me today because I've been a bit busy and just not had a chance to do another tutorial or something like that, so these were a bit easier to do. So I'm working on this horse portrait and I've just added some white bits, as you can see. I'll list all supplies in description as per usual, so you know what I'm using. And this is somebody I know from doing agility. She recently lost a horse. Obviously she's got dogs that she does agility with, and although I'm not sure if she still does it, I've not seen her for a while. But anyway, she's been in touch because she lost this horse, and it's not a very good reference photo. It's obviously a case can't get any more now, so I find that horse people are worse when it comes to getting good photos of the horses whilst they're alive than what dog people are. So they either only get photos of them when they've got big chunky head collars on, which hide a lot of detail on, you know, side of head and what have you, especially around this area. You've got like lots of little veins and things, and the cheekbone that comes down here and what have you. And you can't see any of that, and obviously you don't want to draw them with a big chunky head collar on. And then the only other time really is like with this one, if they've got a bridle on. This is obviously a rosette, which hides too much information, so it's just going to be drawn in there. And so I'm being a bit quiet. I can hear a noise outside and it's distracting me. But anyway, fortunately it's just going to be a little drawing. This is an 8x6 pad that I'm working on. So I don't make them too detailed out when they're only this size. So it shouldn't be too bad, should manage. So I'm just going to add the darks. It looks like a really dark bay, like, you know, not far off being black, but looks more like a really dark bay. Sorry about that, I had to have a little break. So I'm back. So yeah, whilst your animals are still alive, you know, it's nearly 11 o'clock at night, because I thought it might be more peaceful, but no, it's not more peaceful. But yeah, always get as many pictures of your pets as possible, because you can never have enough. So many people just leave themselves without any nice pictures, because they never just didn't bother taking anybody whilst they were whilst they were alive, or didn't get any particularly good ones. Sorry, I had to stop it again there. Too many disturbances. The noise outside where this sonic device thing for got a bit of a rat problem, and Alan went outside and turned it up without me knowing, and I could hear it, so I had to go down and ask him if he'd turned it up, and of course he had, so he had to go back outside and turn it back down. So yeah, we've got a bit of a problem with rats at the minute. Don't help that the house next door's not got anybody living in it at the minute, and the garden's just been allowed to like grow into a jungle. And then some neighbours next door but one, they have rabbits and what have you, so there's probably food and what have you that attracts them. So yes, we can't even feed birds because, you know, it just encourages them. So we've got bird food and we can't even get at birds, otherwise it'll just encourage more rats. Yeah, I mean, I don't dislike rats, but you don't want an infestation of them around your property. Don't really want to be encouraging them. So yeah, fortunately they seem to have set up house in Carport, and he's trying to get rid of them. We don't want to, I don't like using poison anyway, it's a bit inhumane, isn't it? But also we may having a pup, I'd be very sort of like worried about using poison, because I've known it before where rats have like left bits of poison like on garden. You put it in a certain place, they nibble it off at block, and then they leave it scattered about. You find bits of it on garden, and I can't really risk that with a puppy that wants to eat everything. So it's not really an option. And like I say, I'm not a big fan of it anyway, because it's not a very nice ending for him. It's a bit slow and horrible. So yeah, we're using one of these supersonic devices where it's like emits a noise that's supposed to like really annoy them and make them like just want to move away. It remains to be seen whether it works or not. So yeah, I'm just mapping in some darks where I can see them on reference photo. Like I say, it's not a very good reference photo. So I'm just doing my best here. I don't get that many horse portraits, but I've actually got a couple. I've done one recently, and then there's this one. I've got another one in charcoal list. I've also got one in my painting waiting list. Although I've not got that many paintings waiting now. The list seems to have reduced somewhat. Everybody wants to get charcoal drawings instead. Probably because they're a lot cheaper. I've just finished a terrier dog. So next is going to be a couple of border collie pup paintings by a repeat client that I've already done some works for. And then another collie. And then the pony one. I've actually got another one as well that's sort of like in limbo a minute. I'm going to have to get in touch with my friend who's having it done, because she keeps changing her mind about what she's having done. It's going to be more collies, I know that much, but need to sort out what she's doing with it. So yeah, I've got my puppy still, she's growing. I can get a little bit more work done now because she's not quite as demanding as she was. She still has her moments for sure. But she settles for a bit longer now and she's mostly house trained. I don't want to like leave her too long. Otherwise she might have an accident, but she's not had one for a while, so it's only because we've just made sure she has opportunities to go out and garden often enough. It's getting colder now. It's like 4th of September today, and it's definitely getting colder. It's raining now as I speak. So we can't have the door open all the time like we were able to. It's been useful like before having the door open because she had access to the garden whenever, but once it gets too cold and you start having to shut the door, you've just got to make sure that they have a chance to go to the toilet so that they don't end up having to go in the house. So I'm gonna blend that now. This little blending stump. It's only a small drawing, so I'll use this little one. And I'll just blend all these darks. I have been doing a couple more that have been with the coloured charcoal pencils, the grisaille. And I've started getting a little bit more hang of them now. I'll show you a picture of a portrait that I've just done. Now the thing with them grisaille is that I did do like a little review video for them a couple of months ago, so if you've not seen that I'll link to that so you can watch it if you want. But the thing about them is that they don't seem to work very well being blended with a stump like what I'm doing here with these. It just seems to like lift the colour off at paper and mute it too much. So no, they don't seem to handle the blending stump very well, so you just have to use the pencils themselves and like layer on top of each other with actual pencils, and they start like blending with each other anyway because they're sort of softer than these generals in a way. And once you sort of alter your technique a little bit for them, they do work better. But like I say, I needed to just work with them a little bit and figure them out. So I have started doing a few coloured portraits. I've not been pushing it, but a couple of people have asked. They've seen me do some in colour and then they've asked if I can do one in colour for them. So I have been doing a bit of that. So yeah, now it's nearly 11:10. I have to get up around about 8 o'clock for pup, because she has a breakfast and goes to the toilet. She's currently in a soft crate next to me now, sleeping. She tends to settle down around about 9-10 o'clock. I'll nip her up garden just before I go to bed, and then she'll sleep through until morning. But tomorrow I was supposed to be going and doing some training, agility training with my sister who was visiting. But if it's raining, that's not going to be happening. So I just have to. But if I do go, obviously I'll have to get up a bit earlier, because to get to, you know, training field for about 9 o'clock, it takes me just over half an hour to get there. So I'm gonna have to get up a little bit earlier than usual, but chances are it's not going to be happening anyway because of weather. Yeah, up until recently we had very little rain. The garden were like desperate for some rain. And now my sister's come up and you want to do something. All of a sudden rains just arrive and start scuppering your plans. And this weekend we've got our agility club champ show, so I'll be helping there all weekend. I've currently got an offer on for drawings, because last month were just like really quiet. I think August can be a bit prone to that because everyone's just like on holiday and that kind of thing, and weather were a bit nicer, so people were making most of it before it turned for worse. So last month were extremely quiet and I didn't really make that much, but I was still working on quite a few drawings that were ordered in July. So fortunately I had about 3 months prior to last month that were pretty good months, so I'm hoping this month is going to be a little bit better. I've also been doing a few more people portraits. Like I say, I'm quite reserved about doing people because, well, people tend to be quite vain anyway. So they tend to be a little bit more critical when it comes to people portraits. But not only that, obviously I'm not practiced at them, so I'm not as used to getting them, you know, correct as what I am people portraits. Animal portraits, should I say. No. I keep saying wrong thing, don't I? I'm not even realising it. So, yeah. I'm used to getting animals to look right, but I'm just not used to... And people are harder anyway. People doing humans is just harder than doing animals. But obviously if you practice them, then you get better. But obviously that's my problem, is that I've not practiced them because I was never really into doing people. I think as I've gotten a bit older, I probably feel a little bit more interested in doing some people. But everyone just sends you like big, you know, photos where people got big toothy grins, and they look good in photos when people have got big toothy grins, but they don't look so good in artwork. It just doesn't suit like drawings and paintings so much when people have got big toothy grins. But yeah, another problem is when you're doing like smaller portraits like this, set the same size as what I'm doing this one, for example, trying to get the little nuances of human facial features at this size using charcoal pencils, that's really difficult. So yeah, I'm not pushing it like too much. I'm just sharpening my pencil, so I'm going to put another layer of darks on. It's obviously blending it has muted it a little bit. So I just wanted to sharpen this up a little bit and then come back in with some more darks where it comes up like really dark in reference photo. So yeah, I've got an early bird offer at minute where people can always get like £5 off any drawing order. Just try and encourage more people to come and get them done, like for Christmas and what have you, a little bit earlier than, because people always wait until last minute. Well, it don't really start getting busy for Christmas until like middle of November, and that's when everyone starts piling in, and it's just a bit late for everybody to start to be waiting until, because then you can only do so many. Whereas if people start coming in earlier, you'll be able to do a lot more. But instead you're like twiddling your thumbs like through October and beginning of November, and then everybody just descends on you at once. So So I'm just attempting to see if I can lure a few more people to come in a bit earlier. And it is luring a few in, but they're not necessarily getting them for Christmas, so it's not necessarily going to solve my problem. So I'm still going to have people that just wait until the last minute. I think it's just something you just got to accept. But after last month being a bit dismal, I thought I need to try and coax a few people and get a few orders. And I'm still working on photos from a couple of wedding shoots. They're still sucking my time up. Just been working on them today as well. So I'll be glad when I've got them done, because then I'll have a bit more time for this, YouTube for example. And also I need to add some more content to Patreon and start thinking about actually launching that at some point in my lifetime. I've been trying to sort that out, I started it beginning of this year. I started adding content to it, but it's been neglected quite a bit in the last couple of months. I've just not really been adding any new content to it. And I really need to be, because obviously the commissions are just too unstable, especially in the current, economic climate and where things are now. Here in UK especially, it's I don't think it's going to improve anytime soon. It's probably going to get worse, if anything. We aren't going into too much politics or anything like that. It's definitely going to be hard times ahead, so but people still seem to be more willing to pay for tuition than they do actual artwork. So and you can guarantee, if you try and step back from commissions a bit to do something else, all of a sudden everybody will be wanting commissions. So but yeah, it needs sorting, that Patreon, and then get it up and running. But yeah, summer don't seem to have lasted 2 minutes this year. I think it's because it took ages for spring to actually arrive. The spring were just awful. It just won't stop raining. And beginning at summer, it would just rain. So it took a long time before we actually started having a decent weather. We'd had basically a year, over a year, it would just rain all the time. We'd not had any prolonged periods of time where it would just, we didn't have rain. So it just feels like autumn's come back way sooner than it should have done. So soon it'll be back to mud galore on walks and starting getting dark at 3:30 in the afternoon, and I mean, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of like hot weather, so it's not been too bad this year. I think it was worse last year. I think the only hot day that we had last year were actually around about this time. It was when we had our club show last year. Because I were helping on a ring and absolutely boiling heat. And I don't like it when it's hot, so normally I hide from it, and it just picked the day when I weren't going to be able to hide from it. I thought, typical. So I remember they started the show like an hour early so that they could try and get the rings finished before hottest part of afternoon. So we did get finished a bit sooner. But I don't think we're going to have that problem this year. So I think I'm nearly there. We're adding the darks. And I'll just give these a blend, and then I'll come in with the lighter pencil, start adding some details. Like I say, I'm not going to go overboard with detail with this, because obviously I've got the problem with not such a good reference, and also it's only a small drawing. But yeah, if you own a horse, make sure you take some nice photos of them, and not just when they're wearing things on their head. Try and get some when they've not got anything on their head. When they're just in a paddock and looking over at fence at you, or looking out at the stable or something. Get some nice photos of your horse. Because whether you have to sell them on or whether they pass away, it's all you're going to have of them afterwards. May as well have some nice, good quality, photographs of them, even if you don't have a portrait done. It's still nicer to have some better quality if you want to print it off and put it on your wall as a photograph, or have some artwork done from it. And I totally understand, these big chunky head collars, they look like really nice and comfy and padded for horse. But they just hide too much of the... I think people take the photos because they buy their horse a nice snazzy new head collar or whatever, and then they photograph their horse wearing it, the new head collar, and that's why they have these photos. And it's like, well, just try photographing your horse just because, instead of because you put a new piece of equipment on it. Just photograph it without anything on for a change. I don't think I'll get this finished in this video. because it'll just make it too long. But the next painting that I'll be featured in, that will be 3 collies, and they're all males as well. One's got a lot of tan points on it, so and then I think it might be a black Labrador. And then another collie. And then the terrier that I've just finished. Like I say, I'll try and get them photos done. And then think about trying to do some more actual tutorials rather than just a time lapse and me rambling on. So anyway, a few months ago I actually bought some of these pastel pencils, and I've got 3 different shades of grey here, and they've actually come in handy for like doing, you know, more muted highlights, you know, compared to using a white charcoal pencil. So I've been using these as well as the white charcoal pencil. And also I've been using the grey out of the pack of Grisaille as well. This one. The coloured charcoal. So I have been incorporating these in a little bit. So it's always worth just experimenting when you're doing your work. I mean, if you're using media that'll quite happily mix with other media, then why not? They do a job, if they make your life a bit easier, if they make your work look a bit better. So yeah, I probably will use these in this drawing as well. And I'll put the finished drawing as well at end of video so that you can see it done. But yeah, I mean, they do blend quite nicely. This is one of them, so they need sharpening though. They look at they're a bit blunt at the minute. But yeah, there's this one that's quite dark, and you only want like a really subtle, that's not much lighter than black. And then there's these 2 that are a bit lighter. One's a bit slightly warm and one's slightly cooler. So you can read them numbers there. But that just says pit pastel on that one. Oh, it has got a number up. So yeah, they're the numbers, if you can read them. And that's what I've been using. And I've just been using a metal sharpener to sharpen them. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there now, because otherwise these videos just get too long. So what I'll do is I'll just smooth out with the white bits, which obviously there's not that many of in this drawing. And then I'll come in with the grey and the white pencils and start adding some actual details and refining it a little bit. Or I could just film it still and make it into a part 2 instead of doing it all as one video. I might do that actually, and then you get to see all of it. So I'll leave it there for this video anyway, and I'll do a part 2 to, you know, use these pencils and refine it and everything, so that you get to see it all the way through, really, apart from just them little bits of white that I'd already added at the beginning. So I'll leave it there for now, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.